Smarterfan. Smarterfan. Yeah. Smarterfan.
Hey everybody, welcome to another segment of Smarterfan Podcast, where we're bringing you behind the veil of sports, business, and life. I'm Joe, and this is Barry. What's going on, Barry?
Oh, we cooking. We got a little grilling, a little squash, a little tomato. Everything's on the grill today, my friend. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just fine.
Good. What you cooking? What you cooking today?
I'm going to talk about Doug Williams.
The great Doug Williams. Yep.
That's right. You know, he played at Grambling from 74 to 77, and he was named Black College Player of the Year twice.
Mm-hmm.
He finished fourth in the Heisman voting, notably behind one Earl Campbell. And, you know, despite his college success, the only coach that came down and worked him out and scouted him was the offensive coordinator from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Joe Gibbs. So under Gibbs' recommendation, the Bucs drafted him in the first round in 78, making him the first black quarterback taken in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And right off the bat, he faced racism from the fans and even one of his coaches, until Joe Gibbs got in his face and put a stop to that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he led the Bucs to 3 playoff wins in the 5 years he was there, and that earned him being the lowest paid quarterback in the league at $120,000. He was getting less than backup quarterbacks. So he left the Skins after he left the Bucs after 83 when he got into a contract dispute with the owner, and he joined the Redskins as they were known back then, and reunited with Gibbs, who was a head coach. So he backed up Jay Schrader, and when Schrader went down to injury, he stepped up, and his 94 passer rating got him the starting job.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he led them to a Super Bowl 22 rout of the Broncos,
Mm-hmm.
you know, throwing 4 TDs in one quarter, setting a record. I mean, and he became the first black quarterback to play in and win a Super Bowl and win the MVP.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, he was amazing, you know. After he left after his playing days were done, he coached high school football for a bit, you know, and then he was head coach at Morehouse College for a bit before he took over for Eddie Robinson at Grambling.
Mm-hmm.
He led them to 3 SEC conference titles, and then he left there and he went to the Bucs front office. And then from there, he went back to Washington, and now he's currently the senior advisor to the team president of the Washington Commanders. So he's had quite the career. You know, he's had quite a career. So what's going on in the WNBA?
Well, before we leave Doug Williams is an iconic figure.
Yes, he is.
On so many levels, on and off the field, front office, talent evaluation, and really does not, in my humble opinion, get the credit he should get of defaming all the statements that black quarterbacks are not smart enough. And it's sad because, you know, seeing what Lamar has gone through, it's amazing. And I'm a firm believer that there's certain franchises that do things like the Buccaneers did that causes them never to be perennial winners.
Yeah.
Right? You know, and I think they only kind of got the monkey kind of off their back, but then put it back on their back when they treated Coach Dungy the way they did.
Yes.
And then stole that Super Bowl and gave it to Gruden.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just certain franchises do things like that they just kind of doom themselves to bad karma, unfortunately. And I'm just glad to see just Doug's such a class guy. And I know people who know him personally. And just, man, he's just an incredible gentleman on so many levels, and
yes, he is.
On and off the field. So I just wanted to say that because I've always been a big fan of Doug Williams, and if I had an arm to throw, I'd always want to be a quarterback like him.
That's for sure.
But I didn't have the arm.
Yeah, well, he did.
Oh, he had a cannon. He could put it anywhere you wanted to put it. But WNBA is just I had these conversations and people come back and say, "Well, how did you know?" I said, "Hey, I know a little bit about sports, and Caitlin and Angel and this incoming class are putting on a show." And I'm going to stretch out my neck again. There's a very good chance that Angel and Caitlin's teams can be in the playoffs. I wouldn't doubt it.
If they keep playing like this.
I really do. Angel the other night put up a close to a 3-point shot, and I'm like, that's a problem. Because she goes to the hole. There's no one stopping her.
Didn't she have the first triple-double for a rookie?
I mean, she did something with Candace Parker's records. She's up to like 14 triple-doubles. So in her first season, she's breaking records. Caitlin out there looking like the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah.
I mean, she's throwing. Is that magic? I mean, she's throwing all kind of passes. She's dipsy doing. She is putting on the show, and I'm like, man, they go into the playoffs. Her and Boston, that team, and then Angels team. I mean, woo, man, I'm like, man, Caitlin gonna probably get another $80 million working for the Globetrotters in the offseason. Because the girl she is putting on a show. I mean, anyway, so I just wanted to talk about the WNBA, and I mean, she's raising the play of a lot of players. And I heard something interesting too. On Gil Arenas, he has a young woman who plays in the WNBA. She's a very smart girl, young lady, and she brings up some very good points. And one of the main points she brought into that, she's so glad that Caitlin and Angel are in the NBA, because she put this statement out, and she said the coaches are starting to allow players to play their game and stop putting them into a box, because she was saying so many players get drafted and in 2-3 years they're pushed out, but they're never allowed to play their game.
Yeah.
You're trying to put them into a box that's not their game. And I said, that could be very well the reason why the WNBA was not an attractive product.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because they didn't allow the girls to use their talents and be their personalities and all of that. And it's she really brought up a very, very good point. So I just hope that these teams realize, hey, you're drafting these young ladies, let them be them. You know how I feel about lazy, stupid coaching. And a lot of that, unfortunately, that's the only way you're going to get a good product. You gotta grow you gotta grow the league. You gotta grow it. You can't stick it into this anyway. I just thought it was a great point to bring out. I hope, and I bet you the team watch this. The teams that allow their players to play to their skill sets rise to the top, and those who don't are on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Watch.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing in the NFL, NBA.
Yeah.
Right? You got to ask yourself, why are these teams perennially on the bottom? Lazy, stupid, selfish coaching.
Yeah.
You have great. I was just watching I just dipped my toe in there. The again watching Barry Sanders and just listening to people like, why did he leave? Why didn't he say anything? It's like, well, I only have a limited time to play at my peak. The front office, y'all just not committed to get the people in here and develop an offense that can win us a championship. There are many franchises that are like this. We're just going to ride this guy out. He's packing seats, and we're going to ride this to our pension. And they're not interested in really bringing a winner.
Nope.
And so when people ask, you don't feel bad? And I said, no. I mean, you realize you got this generational talent, and you're telling me you can't get a decent quarterback and a decent receiving core? You already got the running back covered. You can't get him. You can't get him to the line of scrimmage. Imagine if you can get him to the line of scrimmage where he's not touched.
Yeah, really.
And you can't figure this out in the 8-9 years he's played. Of course he's going to retire. What for? What? So you're going to run me into the ground? No.
Yeah. No. Well. Speaking of the NFL, got a couple of sad notes here. Bernie Kosar, he was diagnosed with cirrhosis of the liver and Parkinson's.
Really?
Yeah. He's on the list for a liver transplant.
Jeez.
So
Bernie's had a rough road.
Yes, he has. He's battling on two fronts now. With the Parkinson's and the cirrhosis of the liver. And he's been in and out of the hospital for the last few years. With liver-related issues. So, And then on an even sadder note is this kid. He was a rookie cornerback from the Vikings, Khyree Jackson. Him and two high school friends of his were killed in a car accident.
Oh boy!
And I mean, it was really bad. I saw a picture of the car, and the car was crushed, and all because of a drunk driver who was changing lanes at a high rate of speed, hit their car. They went off the road, and it killed all three of them. The girl, her and her passengers were unharmed, and the third car that was involved in the accident, they were unhurt. So it's just a sad time. And these kids were 23 and 24.
Jeez.
Yeah. So it was just really, really bad. Now
that's sad.
Brett Favre and Shannon Sharpe. They're back at it again. Favre is trying to revive the defamation suit that he had against Sharpe. And this suit was thrown out by a federal judge because the judge said that he was within his constitutional rights, to say what he said.
Yeah.
And he was asked about Favre's connection to this big welfare scandal, and he answered the question, and Favre's trying to sue him, so his lawyer is claiming that Sharpe's statements were actionable defamation, and it doesn't make any sense to me, Go ahead.
It makes perfect sense to you, and it's really going to end much worse for Favre because it just optically does not look good. The people you were involved with at the very highest level were found guilty.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There is evidence tying you to them in this scam.
Yeah.
You should be grateful that you're not locked up because it's clearly you took the money. You may have given it back when you found out it all went to poof. you were taking the money from poor people
to
fund a gymnasium, I guess, for your daughter's school.
Yeah, for her volleyball team.
And it's like, and I think what it is Brett's pride. And it's really going, if this thing gets opened up again, it's going to be worse because now people don't accept him into the fraternity. People are like, I ain't really trying to mess with you. I'm really not, because you've made a goob gob a lot of money. You could have donated it to, you could have donated the fight, whatever it was, to, and had a tax write-off and got it all back. Right? That's really the like stupidness of it. It's like, Brett, do not know that you could have written the check, donated it to the school, got it back in your tax return? It's a wash. But instead, you went through all this machinations to rip off poor people. And this really, and now you want to, and really he's choosing not a very good time to bring this up, because Shannon Sharpe's trajectory is like this. Right? It's like this. So
and he's claiming that he didn't do anything wrong.
He didn't do anything wrong. And there's enough evidence. Well, you obviously did do something wrong. And maybe you need to sit in a cell for a couple of years to recognize that you do. You don't be part of a scheme to defraud poor people of federal money.
Yeah, especially in Mississippi.
Yeah, I mean, see, people, once you cross the federal line of federal money, it's a different game. You may be able to pull some shady stuff in your state, right? Your local government, but once you start touching federal money, it's a different game. And that's the problem with greed. That's all. It's not rocket science. And so if you notice, he's really been out since that situation. You don't hear him on the channels. You don't hear people talking about him on the channel. He's really forgotten. And I think it's an ego play. Like I'm not in the fraternity anymore. No, we don't mess with you like that.
Yeah, well, it's in the hands of the appeals court as we speak right now. So
yeah. And then I guarantee you, the Shield is not going to let you mess with their product.
Nope, not at all.
Let me tell you, you're going to see. I would be very surprised if this thing gets opened anymore. And if the Shield is not going to allow you to mess with their brand. I don't care who you're not, as Shannon said, I don't care who you are. As a player, you're not bigger than the Shield.
Nope.
And the Shield got plenty of money and can call on that Rolodex. And those 32 owners ain't letting you mess with their money, Brett, because you got greedy and we're stupid. It ain't gonna happen. So I'd be very surprised if it doesn't get shut down. I'd be very surprised.
We'll see. So what's going on with Coach Prime this week?
Man, Joe, listen, Coach Prime done took it to this man just keeps taking it to another level. Because people were like, well, only his kids are getting NIL deals. So what do you have happen? He got a bunch of his players getting commercials, getting exposed, and different opportunities. Man, it's just beautiful to see. I mean, it's just beautiful to see all his players getting different opportunities on and off the field. It was amazing what I saw the other night with this new commercial they're getting ready to drop. Players talking about other deals they've gotten, other opportunities they've gotten, and just allowing these young men to see the full scope of what is available to them as athletes. And they need to be exposed to So you realize you have options on and off the field, things you could do, and it's just becoming an enriching, which it should be, an enriching experience for these athletes. You know what I mean? Wherever your playing takes you. So they're getting acting, different opportunities, commercials, NIL deals, all kinds of stuff, which is truly what the college athletics experience should be. And it's just wonderful to see how Coach Prime is just, all of these kids getting opportunities, and you can see how it's rounding them out. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, there's more to life, and it's just amazing to see. He did his Pac-12 interview talking about, the grades, the graduation, the academics, setting records there. And it's just, it's almost like, man, I hope NCAA y'all taking lessons, because this is what you keep purporting that it was supposed to be, but you've not done it. And Coach Prime is here doing it in Colorado. Maybe you need to cut him a check because he's actually doing your job. Because if I'm a player, I'm going to Colorado.
Yeah.
Because
they are.
And they are. And it would make, and it's putting pressure, trust me. For those who understand, it's putting pressure on those other schools. Like, why are y'all doing this? What are y'all doing? You see what I'm saying? And that's what's so wonderful what Coach Prime is doing. So I just wanted to big that up, and it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing. And there's a lot of Colorado players in camps, in NFL camps, who got drafted, who are getting opportunities to play at the next level. It is happening. Yeah. So, yes, it's awesome. Awesome.
Well, so in the soccer world, Greg Berhalter, the coach of the United States men's national team, just got fired because of their poor performance in the Copa America tournament. The team just look bad out there, and they lost to Uruguay, they lost to Panama, and it's basically back to square one for them. The hope was that this was going to be a springboard for them to success and be a better team in the World Cup. But it's back to the drawing board. So now Canada, on the other hand, this is the deepest they've gone, making it to the semifinals before losing to Messi in Argentina. But their hope is that they can promote the sport enough in Canada to kind of get out of the shadow of hockey, because that's their main sport.
I don't know if they'll be able to do that. I think because Canada has so many imports of people from Latin America, Africa, big soccer places. That's what's made them much better, because they've got this eclectic mix of people from all around the world, and so these kids play soccer. So I think they have a great opportunity because of that eclectic mix of people to compete with soccer. That's with hockey. Yeah.
Well, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to promote the sport because they're going to be a co-host in the World Cup in 2026.
Oh, well, yeah, they gotta.
Yeah, so they're trying to build it up so that it's not overshadowed by hockey. So actually compete.
Yeah. So what? If anybody's listening, if you're looking to immigrate to North America, that's the way to do it, because they're gonna relax their immigration policies to allow a flood of immigrants to come into Canada to do that. That's how it works behind the scenes. That's how it works. That's how it works. Yeah. Because that's where you're going to get the talent from, right?
That is the question.
You're not going to be able to grow it fast enough homegrown. So you got to import it. And you relax the immigration laws to allow people to come in and get all kinds of incentives and set people up, and now these kids flood into the schools, and the rest is history.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
That's exciting. That's exciting. You know, I mean,
it's when the World Cup comes in 2026. This tournament is kind of like a prelude to a preview of that.
Oh yeah, they gotta work out the kinks. Yeah. So they gotta have these tournaments, and that kind of helps them work out the kinks and the opportunities. And I always say that situation that happened with Kawhi, and I'll stop there until next week, and I'll explain that situation with Kawhi and them winning that championship.
All right.
There's a lot behind that, my friend. So as we say here at Smarterfan Podcast, stay in the game and see you next week.
And Smarterfan family, stay tuned next Tuesday for another episode of Smarterfan Podcast. Have a good night.
Good night, my friend.
Smarterfan.